Soulja.
So Soulja Boy and J. Cole. I don't even think Soulja Boy and J. Cole are in a beef. I think it's just Soulja Boy that's in a beef. So J. Cole was on, I don't even know what the name of this podcast is, but it's on the same podcast with Lil Yachty. And J. Cole was talking about how he has transitioned the way he looks at certain music. He's come to appreciate more forms of music as he's gotten older, as opposed to when he was younger and he looked at certain artists and such as trash. And he used Soulja Boy as an example. So Soulja Boy did not appreciate J. Cole's comments, and Soulja Boy went DEFCON 5
Oh shit.
on J. Cole in response to what J. Cole had to say. So we'll go ahead and provide a little context first, of course. First, we'll play the initial comments that were made by J. Cole, and then we are going to play a little bit of Soulja Boy's lengthy response to what J. Cole had to say.
When Soulja Boy was first coming out, you gotta think my favorite rappers is Pac, Nas, Jay, Andre 3000, boom, 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 boom. This, the highest skill level, boom, boom. And I was kind of living a double life. I had like a rapper life, like where I had music friends in the city. There was a lot of them was older than me, like mentors. Then I had my real friends that I would be hanging out with. My real friends was playing 3-6 Mafia, Lil Jon when he came out, whatever the fuck was popping, whatever new rendition of black culture was penetrating, like music coming up in the South, they was on. A lot of that shit for me, artistically, and what I stood for morally as an artist, I was conflicted because on one hand, we partying all the time to this music. But on the other hand, I'm like, man, this shit go against everything that I think that I am or who I am. I had some fake morals about myself, right? Around the time Soulja Boy came out, I don't know how this happened, but I had a realization within myself. Because I'm hearing that shit and I'm like, man, this shit, Soulja Boy, tell him. It sounds crazy to say now because it's such a classic to me. But at that time, I had resistance. Similar to when you came out and your class came out. I had resistance. Nah, that's not the thing that I love. Like, what? Y'all fucking with this? Like, I was one of them. Yeah. And it was literally a part of me that had a realization. I was young. I was proud of myself for this realization. Because I was like, bruh, you a hater. Like, yo, you are literally hating. Yeah. Like, you are literally, you know you like this shit. Actually, you be with your friends and you know you done did you know you done that. Yeah. So why would you front on this nigga like anywhere at any point? What you be better off doing is you need to look at a Soulja Boy, you need to look at a such and such, whoever was out at that time, might have been Snap Music at the time. What you need to do is you be better off realizing that these dudes is talented and they understand something that you don't understand and they figure something out. And bro, I swear to God, like I switched my mindset and I just turned from a hater as a youngin'. I turned from a hater to just an appreciator. Like, what can I find that's amazing about this? What can I find that's good about this? What can I find that's boom, boom? And bro, that shit, it changed me as an artist. I became a better artist. I started, it's not that I was trying to do anything that they were doing, but I just started loving what they was doing. And it pushed me and just opened me up. And I became a better artist and I took a leap, right?
Okay, so I thought that was pretty complimentary of Soulja Boy, personally. I didn't necessarily think that there was a shot being taken there at Soulja Boy, but Soulja Boy thinks differently. Soulja Boy thinks differently about that. So here's Soulja Boy's reaction to J. Cole. Now, granted, he went ham. I think this is Instagram Live. He went crazy for over 10 minutes. Obviously, we are not going to play the entire 10 minutes here. So we're just going to do a snippet. But here is a piece of what Soulja Boy had to say in response to J. Cole.
Have you ever made everybody put on glasses with your name on? Like, bro, what have you done? besides rap. Anybody could rap. Anybody could rap. Have you ever set a trend? Have you ever, like, you know what I'm saying, did anything? I'm the first rapper on YouTube. How about that, bitch? I'm the nigga that made everybody able to get a record deal. Stupid. If it weren't for me, nobody would be getting signed. I was the first rapper on YouTube. After that, everybody uploaded their music on YouTube and got record deals. I helped. I changed the world. What did you do? What the f did you do besides rap? Anybody can rap. Drake can rap. Jay-Z can rap. Kendrick can rap. Kendrick ain't on interview talk about, I ain't used to like Soulja Boy, now I like him. Bitch, J. Cole, you out of pocket. Sit down somewhere. You lame. You lame. Simple. You was lame. You a lame. You lame. Dirty dreads, dirty teeth. You lame. No swag. You lame. Simple. That's why you ain't understand me, because you was lame. You was one of the lame. You ain't play football. You went in the trap. You ain't shoot shit. You ain't beat niggas up. You was lame. You was a lame in school. You can go pull my high schools up. It's on YouTube. You was lame. What was you doing in high school? Did you have hoes? Did you have money? Did you do anything? What did you? Who were you? Who knew this in high school back in North Carolina? I bet you he was lame. I bet you was a lame. You ain't never shoot nobody. You ain't never did shit. You talking to a that and shot. You talking to a that changed the whole world. You talking to a that was the first on YouTube. But ain't nothing you can say about me. Lyrically, spiritually, none of that, ain't mentally, physically, ain't nothing you can say about me, boy.
Okay, that's enough. So that was Soulja Boy's own version of Ether there.
Wow.
Yeah, he went off on the guy. What do you make of this saga, this Soulja Boy response to J. Cole?
Well, first of all, Soulja's, I mean, yeah, he acknowledged the fact that at some point he did say that he likes him now, but he still finds that lame. So he just finds them lame at this point. So it's not that he missed the message. He clearly received the message. He's just choosing not to, which is right up Soulja's alley, man. Hey, look, y'all. I stopped watching TV a long time ago. You know, that's a sport. So one of my favorite characters in life is Soulja Boy, and I get the best laughs whenever he's doing something. So this is a good laugh, even though I 100% agree with J. Cole. So the weird thing is with J. Cole is that it's wild, at least for me. The guy literally word for word says what I think on a lot of stuff. It's kind of scary at times. And this is no different in the sense that I know exactly what he's talking about. And I was the same way. And, you know, when I was exposed to hip hop, you know, my main thing was New York stuff. You know, it wasn't because whatever, I guess it was my brother's influence or something, but I don't know. I just thought those bars were cleaner. You know, when the down south stuff was going on, you know, I used to like songs here or there, but I still used to like the up north type of stuff. And when Ha came out, when Juvenile made Ha, you know, me and my sisters, we got to laughing like, what is this? No way. And, you know, of course, I ended up liking the song and Juvenile. And by the way, if you listen to that first verse, it is absolute poetry. And you wouldn't think so. You're like, oh, it's good. That is a very good song. That first verse go hard. And but at the time I was like, what is this garbage? So I know exactly where he's coming from. Then when Soulja came out, I was like, what is this? You got to be kidding me. I lost my mind the first time I heard that, you know, in a club. And, you know, it was like, oh, yeah, hey, y'all. And they started doing the Soulja Boy. And I'm like, what is this? And at that point, I was like, you know, I've already aged out of the game. I don't understand this. But as time went on, I saw the genius in these people, the same people that I used to criticize or whatever. And that's what J. Cole's referring to. There's always a genius going on. That's why it catches on to things. So people may not like the overall message or overall approach or appeal to something, but there's a genius in whatever this person is doing. And so Soulja has a genius about him that he's able to stay relevant all the time, even though he ain't really got music that people want to listen to, but he still has his fans that listen to his music. So he's a unique character, and he uses that unique, talent, if you want to call it that, to be in the mind's eye of a lot of people. And so there's a genius there. So for me, even though I don't like his music or anything he does, him qualifying being real as shooting somebody and all this, it's all minstrel show stuff.
Yeah, that part I don't like. Yeah,
Right.
that's the only part of that I don't like.
Yeah, I don't care for that, but all the other hooting and hollering and jigabooing, I find it hilarious. Because who is really taking this serious? So that's the part about it where I go, hey, this is funny. But be that as it may, I agree 1000% with J. Cole. I know exactly where he's coming from, and you can grow to appreciate even the wildest stuff. There is still a genius in there. Don't mean you have to listen to it, but you can understand and appreciate why so many people resonate with it. So what about you, man? How do you feel about the Soulja Boy Tell 'em drama with J. Cole?
I think they're both right. I think they're both right. I'm with you. I 100%. I 100%. What J. Cole said 100% resonated with me. 100%. If you want to find the poster child for the guy who grew up listening to a certain kind of rap and was supremely resistant toward
Right.
Soulja Boy, and it ain't just Soulja Boy, them franchise boys, D4L, Lil Jon and the East Side Boys, all of that stuff. Even to a certain extent, 3 6 Mafia. To be honest with you, if you want to find the person who was supremely resistant to a lot of that stuff, it's this guy standing right sitting here. I was that guy. I was that person because, like J. Cole, I had these ridiculous, stupid morals when it came to what music is supposed to sound like. And what I learned in my advanced age is number one, it's music and it's not that serious. I mean, I might have my opinions, but I'm not going to die about this stuff. Like,
right.
The sun's going to come up tomorrow. I'm going to still be alive. It is what it is. It's a matter of preference. Not everybody likes basketball. I love basketball. If someone loves baseball, I can't get mad at them because they like baseball. And it's the same thing with the music. If you like some of the more, dance tune oriented, not too heavy on lyrics, but high on fun and lifestyle stuff, it is what it is. It's all just music. The only point of contention that I had, and I would run into this from time to time, is there would be people who wanted to have a legitimate debate about who was a better rapper. And so I get people who wanted to actually have a conversation. Who's a better rapper, Jay-Z or Pastor Troy? And it's like, listen, that's a different conversation. If you want to have a debate about who's a better rapper between Jay-Z and Pastor Troy, I'm going to fight you tooth and nail because to me, that's an objective question. Like, to me, there's no, we can talk all day about who's better or whose music you like better or who makes better music or whatever. But the question over who's a better rapper is specific. So, to me, that's like saying who's a better basketball player, LeBron James or, Brandon Jennings. Shouts out to Brandon Jennings. That's the first name that came to my mind. Like, what are we doing here? Like, I'm no LeBron fan, but I'm not going to seriously sit here and entertain a conversation over who's better between LeBron and Brandon Jennings. Like, that's silly. So that was the only time that I would really get out of pocket when it came to this music stuff. Otherwise, I realized, much like J. Cole, hey, man, this stuff is multifaceted. Soulja Boy makes his kind of music. There's a genius to that. There's an art to that in some way. And then the other stuff is its stuff. And so it is what it is. It all can live is how I see it. So I really do empathize with where J. Cole was coming from. Honestly, if I'm going to if I'm going to take a stab at psychoanalyzing Soulja Boy for a hot second,
Good luck.
there's a part of me that believes that Soulja Boy was using J. Cole as a conduit to speak to his detractors of the world. Because like J. Cole was being complimentary towards Soulja Boy, like he was. So for Soulja Boy to go off on him so strongly, I feel like Soulja Boy was using J. Cole as a conduit to attack all of the haters and detractors that Soulja Boy has had to deal with throughout his career. Because you have had a lot, there's been this ongoing conversation around the kind of music that Soulja Boy makes, whether it actually deserves a place within the annals of the music. And you've had a lot of people who want to invalidate it because they are they're on the side of that is trash. Like there's a lot of people out there who look at what Soulja Boy does and they're like, oh, that's trash, instead of just saying it's not trash and it's not the greatest thing ever. It just is. Like it deserves to reside where it resides. There's a place for all of this. And I would imagine that Soulja Boy has not been very appreciative to that kind of message for a long time. I kind of feel like that's where he was coming from. Very, very similar to the way I believe that, you know, when Will slapped Chris Rock, you know, I don't think in that moment Will Smith was slapping Chris Rock. I think in that moment Will Smith was slapping everybody else, and Chris Rock just happened to be the vessel that was receiving that backlash. And it was a lot of pent up frustration that Will wanted to get off his chest. And in that moment, Chris Rock made the joke. So Chris Rock got the smoke that everybody had coming to them over the course of many, many years that Will Smith felt as though he was getting disrespected. One difference between Will Smith and Soulja Boy, of course, is Soulja Boy has never been shy about going off on the internet on people.
Exactly.
Whereas Will Smith has always been more diplomatic about that kind of stuff. But I do think at the end of the day, Soulja Boy was kind of just going off on everybody. I think they're both right. Last week we talked about Coi Leray asking what makes an icon in music. And the thing that I kind of said I look towards when it comes to iconic status is timelessness. And one thing that you can't take away from Soulja Boy, that song, that crank that Soulja Boy, that was what, 2011? And if you go out, you're liable to still hear that song get played now. And that was 12 years ago. So that's one of the indicators of iconic status to me. Whether you want to pick apart the artistic merit or not, it's, you know, nevertheless, it has legs to stand on from a timelessness standpoint. And you can't take that away from him. So I think both of them were right. I don't really like when Soulja Boy was talking about whether J. Cole had holes and if he shot people. I don't like that. I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of that stuff, which should come as no shock to anybody who knows me. I don't like any of that stuff. But if you just subtract that from everything else Soulja Boy was talking about, I get it. I think they're both right. I honestly think that both of them are right. I think both of them have a point.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like again, bro, it's like a Boondocks character. So when he's doing this stuff, it's of course the Boondocks character is going to say that. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got no hoes. You know what I'm saying? Of course. So this just, and it's the wild part about it is that this guy is serious. His whole life is to troll. So yeah, of course he know that this was Soulja smart. So he know that J. Cole didn't mean anything by this. He knows that. But give him the opportunity. He's going to take it because that's part of his talent base is to go viral and, you know, yearly at this point.
Yeah.
And it's not always for music. It's generally always reminding us about the one song that really stuck. But if he heard me say that, he was like, one song, and then he's just gonna run down a list. I wrote this for Beyonce. All right, so just like chill. Like he's gonna let you know about his catalog. So yeah, but I find it all humorous, man. You know, at this point, if people are taking him seriously enough to feel like you have to have hoes and stuff, and like, come on, man, like this is clearly an act. So you know, so just laugh with this. but don't take it seriously. And I don't think most people are. So honestly, bro, because again, man, because people aren't going to stop acting like this. So at least give me good humor, you know. And because Umar Johnson nowadays has been on fire, bro. He is completely leaned into being a comedian. So all of this stuff is just completely theatrical. So he does the Soulja Boy, he does the conscious version of what Soulja Boy is doing. And he's just being a soundbite at all costs. It is absolutely hilarious. So instead of being mad at him for being a scammer and a fraudster, he has now become one of my favorite internet characters. So I can get a good laugh. So Soulja's he's just a Boondocks character come to life. And I love it, man. So it's because he's not going nowhere. He's going to be in my feed, so I might as well laugh at it, and I do. So I appreciate Soulja for this last one.
I hear all of that. I knew I had something wrong. I think I said 2011, but I remember hearing that song when I was in undergrad. So it's like 07. And it's funny too because J. Cole first came onto the scene in the late 2000s. I know his first album was, I think, 2011, but he was dropping the mixtapes and stuff like 2008, 2009. So like they were around the same time in terms of the emergence of their careers. And the fascinating thing about music, about like rap music at that time, in my opinion, was there was a space for all of this to live because J. Cole was getting his spins and Soulja Boy was getting his spins. So the reason why J. Cole's comments hold weight and have merit is because it comes from a top. Both of them emerged during a time where, in my opinion, the music was a little more it was a little more multifaceted. It was a little more enlightened. There was a general understanding Soulja Boy can get played on the radio and J. Cole can get played on the radio. Whereas I think nowadays it's like, if you ain't talking about, getting money, shooting, smashing chicks, or if you're not a female and you're not talking about, smashing dudes for money and blah, 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 you ain't getting no spins. And so the reason why it's an interesting conversation to me is because both of them came up during a time when, the music had more legs to it, as opposed to now when it kind of seems one-dimensional, or at least in my opinion, it's far more one-dimensional now than it was in the past. So that's why I say like both of them are right. It would be a far different conversation to me if they were both trying to be relevant today and drumming up this controversy today. It would be a completely different conversation as far as I can tell. But interesting comments nevertheless. I just kind of look at both of them and I say, hey man, both of them are right. And I'm no hardcore fan of either one, J. Cole or Soulja Boy, but I recognize their respective places and where they belong. So shouts out to both of them for the content.
Agreed.
Yeah.